On March 10, 1922, Mahatma Gandhi was arrested in Bombay on his most serious charge yet: sedition, for leading India's independence movement. His crime? Organising powerful, non-violent protests against British rule, urging people to boycott British goods, institutions and taxes. He was then sentenced to 6 years in prison. He only served 2, thanks to his appendicitis, his health condition. But even that couldn't stop him. He emerged from prison more determined than ever, continuing his fight for freedom. And in 1947, India finally broke free from British rule and gained its independence. But tragically, Gandhi was assassinated the following year by Hindu extremists. But his legacy of peace and resistance still inspires the world today. Nelson Mandela. No power on earth can stop an oppressed people determined to win their freedom. Those were Nelson Mandela's words in 1961, just before he was convicted for leading the fight against apartheid in South Africa. Mandela spent 27 years in the harsh Robben Island prison, becoming the most recognized symbol of resistance against apartheid. While locked away, the world rallied around his cause, pressuring South Africa's white minority government. When he was finally released in 1990, he didn't just walk free, he walked toward history. In 1994, at 75 years old, Mandela became South Africa's first black president, proving that perseverance can truly change the world. Adolf Hitler. When we think of political prisoners, we usually picture Hitler's victims, not Hitler himself. But before he became the German leader, he too spent time behind bars. In 1923, he led the Beer Hall Putsch, an attempted coup in Munich. It failed spectacularly, and Hitler was charged with high treason and sentenced to 5 years in prison. He didn't serve even a year, but that short time was enough for him to write Mein Kampf, his infamous manifesto. His imprisonment turned him into a martyr for his supporters, fueling the rise of the Nazi movement. The world would soon witness the terrifying consequences of his ambitions. Joseph Stalin. Before he became one of history's most infamous dictators, Joseph Stalin was just a rebellious young revolutionary. Born Joseph Vissarionovich Djugashvili, he later adopted the name Stalin, meaning man of steel, as he took control of his own destiny. Inspired by Karl Marx, Stalin was knee-deep in underground activism, organizing strikes, protests, and even robbing banks to fund the Bolshevik Party. Between 1902 and 1913, he was arrested multiple times and sent to prison and exile in Siberia, but he always found a way back. While exiled in Switzerland, he was appointed to the Bolshevik Party's Central Committee, and just a few years later, the Bolsheviks seized power, making Lenin the leader, with Stalin right behind him. The rest, as they say, is history. Fidel Castro. Before he became the revolutionary leader of Cuba, Fidel Castro was just a young lawyer with big ambitions. In 1953, he decided words weren't enough, so he led an attack on the Moncada barracks, hoping to spark an uprising against the Batista regime. The plan failed, and most of his group was killed or captured. Castro and his brother Raul managed to escape, but they were later arrested and thrown into prison. But prison didn't break Castro, it made him stronger. His fiery trial speech and time behind bars turned into a symbol of resistance. After 2 years, Batista, the then Cuban leader, caved to international pressure and granted him amnesty, after which Castro waited no time. He went straight to Mexico, regrouped with other revolutionaries, and laid the groundwork for the movement that would change Cuba forever. And there you have it, the top 5 leaders who went from being a prisoner to a world leader. If you enjoy videos like this, then check out the previous video about the shocking facts about the world-famous leader, and check the video on the top left to learn more about World War II. And hit the subscribe button if you're someone who is interested in Western history. And I'll see you on the next one.